Good morning to you and welcome to Business Focus, where we turn the spotlight on the pulse of commerce and enterprise. I am Maria Adozakari. In each episode, we'll bring you insightful interviews with in-depth analysis of market dynamics and profiles of businesses that are making waves. We embark on a journey into the world of commerce and business. I am Maria Adozakari, your anchor. Our topic for today, we're going to discuss the CBN Governor's Roadmap and economic discovery. Do stay tuned. We'll take a short break. We'll look at the stock and commodity markets. We'll be right back. My teleprompter. Welcome back. We'll look at the commodity market and also the stock market. We'll start with the highest trades for today. And the highest trades for today, there is NSL Technology at 44 trades at the volume of 12,000,066. And Transcore is second on the list. It was first yesterday. It's second now on the list at 36 trades at the volume of 5.624 million and the value of 37,212. GT Company is second and third on the list at 32 trades at the volume of 37.072 at the value of 1,427 million. We'll take a look at the top gainers for today, and the top gainers, there is NSL Technology at 10%, Mercure at positive 9.99%, Sooner Assure at positive 9.68%. The bottom losers for today, let's see, there is Omatek on the list at negative 10%, Ikeja Hotel at negative 9.87%, and Nemeth at negative 9.87%. We'll look at the commodity market for today, and the commodity top performers for today is feeder cattle at the top of the list at positive 4.02%. Coming second is nickel at positive 3.63%, and orange juice third on the list at 2.68% at 4.14 US dollars. Let's take a look at the next commodity. We have the precious metals. Precious metals for today, there's gold at the top of the list at 0.11% positive, and palladium is second on the list at negative 0.50%. Platinum is third on the list at negative 0.50%. Let's take a look at the next commodity. We have agriculture. Agriculture cotton tops the list with negative 2.03% and also second with 0.99% positive. And lumber is third on the list with negative 1.10%. Next commodity for today, we'll look at energy now. At the top of the list is natural gas, which is Henry Hub with positive 2.97%. Ethanol second on the list with 0.05% positive, and heating oil third on the list with negative 1.03%. We'll look at the next commodity, which is industrial metals. Industrial metals, we have aluminum at the top of the list at negative 1.88%. Lead is second on the list at positive 4.35%, and iron ore third on the list at positive 0.20%. That's all for today. We'll come back for our interview segment. Stay tuned. Okay. Welcome back. We are here to discuss the CBN governor, the new CBN governor's roadmap and economic discovery. We did that on Monday, but it's the speech from the CBN governor is bulky, so we have to break it down. Monday was not enough. Welcome to Business Focus. Good morning, Mr. Adisa Steve.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back. We're discussing the CBN governor. His speech on during the weekend, he did a very long speech. He stated a lot of things, and he made clarifications about the $1 trillion economy not to be achieved in 3 years, but in 7 months. Is it realistic? Would 3 years have been realistic?
Before the once again, good morning, everybody. Before the CBN governor will come out to release a statement, I remember in one of our meetings where I also stated clearly that CBN must have been working underground.
Yes.
Especially when you look at the outlook of the economy, it's not really that good, and they must have sat down, look at the data, which will also guide them in decision making process. And before the statement, so many people have been so anxious to hear from the new CBN governor, and as we speak, he spoke, and it carried weight just to restore confidence in the banking sector, restore confidence in the economy, that as a bank they are working, and they are not just working reading letters, but they are also reading figures. I think this is a good omen for the economy to also revamp. Having said that, before they could come up with everything that they have done, they must have also looked at all of these whole thing, the pros and the cons, and the statement we heard from them is an evidence to show that they are not sleeping. And I am very sure they can. They have a reason for putting up such a statement.
Okay, so is 7 years realistic?
Nigeria of today, our issue is not just about the 7 years. Our issue is about following the templates that we have, and I'm so sure before they will just release such a statement to say 7 years. They must as well have looked at it, and again, a lot of factors contribute, and they must have looked at the inflationary process. And when you look at it even from the statement, which I enjoyed so much, where the man was more concerned about the core inflation rather than the headline or the inflationary stick, which you also agree with me that they must have looked at critical situations in Nigeria. When our productivity is down, then how do we also intend to reduce inflation? So 7 years is not a bad idea, and God helping us, if the government can run to that period, I think it's achievable based on the template that is on ground.
Okay, so we're talking about the banking sector. He mentioned the banking sector needs to increase their capital. What are the implications of that on the banking sector?
As of today, and even before now, I think in one of the business line paper that I so read, and from the happenings in the banking sector, even some of those banks, the MD CEOs have started working on their own on also how to recapitalize. It's very obvious that for the economy to also pick up, we need to also strengthen our banking industry. And not just that, the major player also needs to, or the regulator now needs to also see how they can allow more FDI to come into the system. Then also work with other foreign banks to also have subsidiary here in Nigeria, open more doors for foreigners to also own part of our banking so that they can bring more money into the system. The more productive we are, the more we reduce the inflationary figure that we have today. And you also look at it, interest rate is still what we are battling with, and banks are also finding it difficult. Today now banks cannot go because our banking in Nigeria they are lazy. You know, they want money, but they don't want to work for money. And so all of these, thank God, the vice president is from the banking industry. The minister of finance is also from the banking industry. All of these people, plus
they know how it works
so
from inside.
They know how it works from the inside. So they must have sat down, you know, behind the camera, so to say, to look at some of these things and see what we can do and then get out of this little mess we find ourselves.
The evaluation of the banking industry's adequacy impact the stability of the financial statement. How can that be?
Well, again, you and I will understand that for businesses to run and strive in any economy, they need finance. And when we talk about finance, it also has to come from the financial institutions. Now, do we have a strong financial institution that has these resources to also give as a backing to some of these businesses? If we need to also improve on every sector of our economy, again, we also need to look at how to strengthen the banking industry. Now, how do I assess loan? Repayment plan. Is there anything that can back it up? Now, when you look at all of this, we also need to be sincere with ourselves, with our banking industry. So, we need to push ourselves out, talk to the authority. The authority needs to also call all of that together and then see how we can work with them, get out of all of these little hiccups that are in the banking sector, and at the same time let them also invest, especially in agriculture, which is a bedrock to anything called improvement, even in productivity. Talk of any sector today, who does not need agriculture sector? Everybody needs. So again, the banking industry, rather than waiting for somebody that will be using them as a tool to share money or to give out money, rather they should also use the little they have, they also invest in that agricultural sector, and it will also help in boosting their revenue, in boosting even the economy from their own contribution as one way or the other.
So what are the challenges and also the opportunities do we foresee for the banking sector when we talk about the capital increase?
Well, the opportunity we have is that we're going to have more money in the economy. That's just the truth. We're going to have more money in the economy, and at the same time, it will also help us. Better to have a few players that are strong than to have many players that are less
weak,
or no, that are totally weak, and again, who can ordinarily not compete with international banking or other international banking industry. So again, this recapitalization will also help us to gear up. And if you remember, the last time we had this, made us to understand that we can do better if at all we've been following up on this process. And again, it will restore confidence in the mind of the customers. And when you say customers, if you have your 1 naira, yeah, my 1 naira cannot go down the drain, and you will also want to take money to a bank. No, the more money, and again, everybody will have this confidence that I can take my money back to the bank. And in taking my money back to the bank will also have more money to also trade, because from there, again, we can mop up all this, mopping up of money in circulation to also checkmate the liquidity process and abuse. So again, that will help the economy, especially in a time like this. It will really, really help the economy in a time like this. Now, but if you talk of disadvantage is that it will only put a lot of people on their toes, especially those in the banking sector. It will make them sit tight. It will not be business as usual. It will not just be we have money we can share, we have money we can give to those loved ones around us. Now it will be core business. And again, it will also help these institutions to also stretch their legs beyond what they are doing currently. If I know, I can talk to some foreign investors to come invest in our economy through the banking sector. It will also boost their image. It becomes a thing of pride when you go to a neighboring country, even somewhere in Ghana, and you are seeing a bank from your country, operating in that country, you boost your confidence that, oh, truly
we
are around the corner. So again, it will help us a lot. It will really, really, really help us a lot. So I think the advantage is more than the disadvantage, as anybody may think.
Okay, so let's talk about the fiscal reforms recently mentioned, the removal of the fuel subsidy and unification of the foreign exchange currency. What role do these reforms play in attaining sustainable economic development?
As of today, when you look at the hand of the clock, you will agree with me that it's a policy, and the policy comes in with a government, right? Now, you and I will agree that the policy is to our good. And again, it's just that nobody likes the new normal. But unfortunately, we just have to work with the change. The change means, number one, removal of fuel subsidy. We have more money to also build infrastructure. If we have more money to also invest in productivity, which can also reduce a lot of burden. We have more money to also fight insecurity, which is another bedrock to any development. Now, but when you ask a common man in the sense that those who ordinarily have written government off to say nothing good is actually coming from government, they will have a reason to say, after all, what are they doing with the resources they have before now? So why now that you are thinking there is one special thing these people are doing? Again, the orientation will change. Allowing the FX market to play by the law of demand and supply, it will also help us. And you also discover that over time now, our chief marketer have been talking to investors, and the investors have been seeing it that, okay, when we bring in our money can, trade based on what is available as against who wants to buy. So these are ways in which economists help build nations. Policies at the beginning may be anti-people, but in the long run, and that's why I love about what the CBN governor also said, he didn't tell us that this is a solution that we revamp overnight. But he said, give us a midterm. Then, in the long term, this will go off from the country. But to us as human, to us as Nigerians, we are just like we want magic. Overnight, things change. Overnight, we want them to construct a road, and all of this often is not possible. They
actually said they are not magicians, or they don't have a magic wand.
No, but that is the truth. No, that is the truth. But if you ask, sorry, please, let's just look at it this way. Looking at the economy over the years, you will agree with me that an average Nigerian believes, I can't trust government for any reason. So if you can't trust somebody yesterday, and another person is telling you a particular thing today, and when you ask the person, who is the person? You say politician. You can't trust an average politician. So what it means is that we have lost confidence even in the government itself. Sure. But people need to just give room. If we don't try them before, we won't know if they are true or not. But now we have seen it that, okay, maybe the people of yesterday have failed us. Let's also give opportunity to the current people. Let's see how far they can go. Let's see if they are not doing what they promise, we can also checkmate them. Unfortunately, no pressure group again. Nobody is putting the government also on their toes. Like, oh, this is what you said, but this is what we are seeing. How do we arrive at this point? And when you look at it put together, even the word inflation is also not encouraging us at now, because of a lot of things going on. Russia, Ukraine is there, Israel and Hamas is there today, and all of these affect economy of the world.
True.
And that's why you see every day now, you see IMF and World Bank, they keep tab on the inflation process of everything. They keep tab, they keep watching. Okay, if this is solved, this is what we will get. Okay, rather than folding hands, now let's all of us team up together and let's see how we can put an end to this so that we can breathe. Put an end to this so that we can also have more life. Now, and again, who are the people that will suffer? they are more or less like a third world nation like ours, that we suffer all of these consequences. But all the same, Nigerians just need to have this faith in the government. Let's see how far it can carry us. But if you ask me, the removal of subsidy and the FX market, it's the best option we can have in Nigeria as of today. Enough of CBN becoming a feeding bottle to a certain sector of the economy every day and every month of the year.
So let me quote you from last time we met. You said IT is the future. So what can technology help in delivering the financial services required?
Now, okay. Now, if you also look at the statement made by the CBN governor, he also acknowledged the ICT sector, and you agree with me, as at today, even while we are sitting down here, is what is keeping us here is ICT.
True.
All right. So, which means a lot of services can be rendered without us even leaving the comfort of our home. All right. Go to the fintech, go to even the banking sector. If not now, everything can become robotic and become seamless. And how is that possible? It's possible because when you have everything set up adequately, they check also the back end, which is actually the security. And I have my system. I can do one or two, send you a mail, and wherever you are all over the world, you see whatever I send to you. And in seeing your profile, you also send back how much is your per hour, how much is your per seconds. A lot of people now, again, thank God for the evil turn good of COVID has also turned around a lot of things within the sector.
True.
Now, so how many of us could actually believe that conveniently I will sit at the back end of my home and I can order for anything, if not for this fintech, this technology that we are talking about? All right. You've also brought about some other subsectors within the system that are helping people. So today, if you ask me, tech is the next line. Take it anywhere. Take it to the bank. Tech is the next line. Everybody, data analysis, data science, data technology, put all of them together. These, anybody, it's countless number of people that I have now that are having sleepless nights just to meet up with lectures online over the night, just because they want to become a data analyst. And you don't need to leave your comfort of your home. You work there, you get paid. And what do you want? What, after all, working from 8 to 5 in the evening, what do you want? Money. You get this money without even stressing yourself. Even now, in some nations of the world, you can file any court proceeding from your home.
True.
So, now, over time, if every sector could understand that we can make things seamless, it will work. Look at what is happening in the immigration service. It's becoming seamless. And as at yesterday or day before yesterday, the minister told us they are 99% completing the e-process, where you just sit at home. The only thing you go to see them for is biometric, or capturing fingers and face. And they're also working with some sister agencies.
There's a lot of complaint from there, the immigration.
So, but the bottleneck have been broken as a result of this tech.
True.
So we can do better. We can really do. There are so many sectors in Nigeria today. Ordinarily, we don't need to crowd the offices with people. We just need.
You could work from home.
They can work from home. All right. They just need to ensure that these people also they engage their ICT compliance.
True.
And need to help the economy.
Okay. So the central bank is tightening measures for the next 2 quarters. How effective would that be in managing inflation?
Well, if you look at I think from the statement of the central bank governor, they're also looking at core inflation, and then when you look at core, it has to do with all commodities, aside from food and fuel, right? When you do all of these, you look at it that again, it will take process, it will take time, and when you're talking about process and time, now we as citizens, we are looking at now what they are looking at, what can be in the next 3 years, in the next 1 year. Now, where will they start from? One of the policies is the issue of fuel subsidy that we've been battling with. Another one is the FX. Now, again, the other part now has to do with investments in critical sectors that can also reduce our inflation. Now, critical sectors, we can, mention them. You mention agriculture, you mention tech, science and technology, you also mention communication, plus even education.
True.
All right. So when you do all of these, it will also, the more productive you become, the more you are reducing the load on your inflation. Because, for instance, if people can afford to eat food, and that's why I love, in one of his statements he quotes, even when people are like, what are you doing about the common man? Because common man really don't understand what inflation is.
All the stories.
All right. So but what they want is, what is your plan for them? He also mentioned them, but they are also studying the economy and to see areas in which they can also come in to say, okay, day-to-day activities, people get paid every day. Now, if they get paid, how do they get paid? What do they do? So rather than thinking they will be the one, like what we used to experience before, CBN will be the one giving money for seedlings, CBN will be the one paying for grain. No. Now, rather what we'll do is, let's look at, okay, if you are looking at agriculture, in agriculture we can unbundle. Unbundling means, now we look at, okay, how many farmers associations do we have? What are the challenges? What are they doing to also reduce the burden of these people? And when you begin to tackle it one after the other, it goes down. Because if as an association A, you give us XYZ to go and tackle maybe erosion, flood, and the rest like that, it will reduce the workload on us by the time we are seeing the dividend. Not like paper, where you just come, you tell us, you read figures. Common man don't know figures. What they want, what they know is what comes into their stomach. True. All right. So on daily basis, I'm very sure they are also working with the MBS, working to get the data, getting the true picture of everything, and to see the critical areas in which they can also work in, help and support both the government policies and their own plan. And that is why it categorically stated it. It's not going to be what we used to have in the past. It's not right now. It's going to be a core central bank activities.
We'll go on a short break. Get a drink of water. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. So we're at 20 minutes. Map to economic recovery. Mr. Adisa, you're talking about the CBN stating categorically it's not going to be business as usual. What does that mean?
Well, which means, for instance now, you understand with me that CBN at a point we are doing a rice pyramid. In the core mandate of CBN, is rice pyramid part of their mandate?
No.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, you also discovered that it got to a point where some individuals are also having dealings with CBN. Even in the books that we read, not to talk of what we also see in structures, CBN don't deal with individuals, they deal with institutions. All right. Now, that is not what I've been playing out for quite some time now. So their core mandate is also to monitor the banking sector or everything that has to do with the financial sector of the country, the economy itself. You know, they are the one who sit to look at, oh, if government says this policy is what we are coming up with, they will be the one that will guide government on, oh, this policy, it will work, but do, let's consider this way. But when you now realize that CBN not left their mandate and become a political tool to carrying out government agenda.
True.
All right. Now, which means definitely they will down to a particular side, which has to, you have to just be partisan. There's no two ways about that. They will be partisan when it comes to that. Again, you also look at it that most of the things we read from CBN are more or less like I myself and alone. It wasn't an institution.
Me, myself, and I.
So me, myself, and I. It wasn't an institution where we know supposed to be our we. It wasn't a we, and that's why when you look at the happenings, and I also remember the very last time I said their quietness may have been that they are looking at the trends, and it's very clear now that they've studied the trends, and they've also come up to say no longer we going to be more concentrating on the monetary aspect alone, rather we'll be looking at the whole economy as it affects the nation. So we look at them as the APS bank. Suddenly in the time past they became a first grade A commercial banks, where people get money and they can't account for it. Look at the NISA project. Where are we today? So very quite unfortunate that who is supposed to be the judge eventually become a plaintiff in a case of economy of a nation.
That's really sad. So, Mr. Adisa, let's talk about the Monetary Policy Committee. How important is the CBN's adherence to the meetings to be done four times every year? How important is that for the community, for the economy?
Well, the Monetary Committee, very important, because it comprises of all the sectors that also monitors the outlook of the economy. And when you will also agree with me, at a point in time, CBN has its own figure, Ministry of Finance has a different figure, all right? And MBS, which is a National Bureau of Statistics, we also,
have something different.
So now, it doesn't speak well. Even for FDI, they won't take you serious, because they just believe if a house is not in order and you expect me to bring my money in, then I can't trust any one of you. So rather, what it means is that at this point in time, this monetary committee needs to just come, sit together, discuss everything holistically, and be objective in giving their suggestions and opinions on any of this sector. So that, number one, look at the interest rate as of today. A lot of factors have contributed to the rising of the interest rates. So if we now look at, okay, if MBS comes with their own data, remember, they have this data. Now, another committee, another office will also come and say, okay, we have interpreted your data, and true, it represents XYZ. Now, again, Ministry of Finance will also come. This is the government policy. Don't forget there are other offices. Akatanyana also have a representative there. All of these people will come together and say, okay, if we release this to the economy again, this will be the effect. All right. Remember, the bankers institution also have a sitting representative to also come and discuss all of this all in detail. It's a thing that will help the country if they can stick to their mandate. Sticking to their mandate means they meet, discuss the core mandate of their setting up, and they should be fair and not be partisan, or just let's say something that we boost the image of the sitting government. No, rather let it be said to the government, this is the face we are, and in this phase, this is what we think we can do. Not the one we will just rush overnight. Suddenly somebody will just come, this is what we have now, when we truly know this is the true picture of what is happening in there. So it's important that these people keep meeting within a limited number of their time, either in a year or as stipulated in their act. Let them meet and discuss the economy, and when they meet to discuss the economy, the better for us as a nation.
Okay, so let's talk about the trade policies. 43 items were restricted from importation. How has that affected businesses, especially the foreign market?
Well, the ban in the first place, what were the reasons for the ban? That's question number one. All right. Question number two, now that it has been unbanned, there must have been a lot of things into it. I remember the manufacturer associations on Wing, was it last week? They were talking about it, that the unbanning of toothpick does not mean well for the country. even since when the restriction have been placed on it, have we started producing? Those are the things that we need to first ask ourselves. Where are we? When the ban was placed, what were the outlook? What were the in-look? All right. Why do they have that? Why is a thing?
Hold on. The transmitter is on. Good.